Hi everybody. Let's see, probably a little bit hard on my parents yesterday. Um, but I think I was taught by them that being hard on somebody, that's kind of what, you're not hard on people you don't love, right? So, let's go over a couple of things that I learned on the farm from my parents. Um, it's always hard to find a positive of things that I learned from my mother, um, and I think you can tell that um, all these years I've struggled to villainize my father. Um, he um, I I have always wanted to respect him, and I've given him lots and lots of silence and non-judgment, and placed most of the blame on my mother for things in my upbringing that went wrong. And I think that is right for the most part, but um, I think my whole hour-long video yesterday neglected to say a couple of things that I might have learned from my father due to changing handline irrigation. Okay? But let's start. Tomorrow is Mother's Day. So let's start with hard lessons that my mother taught me, um, just in general for life. Um, we'll start with her, and then we're going to end with maybe some things, some sacrifices that both of them made on the behalf of their children. Okay, what did I learn from my mother that was essential for me to learn? And that I carried on through the rest of my life. Like, it's easy to teach a kid not to touch a hot stove, but I mean, uh, um, but, and I suppose you can carry that lesson with you forever. Here, let's bring spirit in. Let's do a little. Let's call spirit, and let's try to be maybe not as editorial and more, I don't know, sympathetic to my mother's strategies. One thing that probably is important for any woman to learn that my mother taught me was that, and this is true throughout the world, is that um, there is no value in sisterhood. There is no feminine loyalty. You cannot expect empathy or a sisterhood among women. Women are not going to be sympathetic towards you or helpful or my mother she's one of four sisters. Her father didn't produce any males. Her poor father. Her poor father. So mom never had a sense of brotherhood or all she knew was maybe her negative relationships with her sisters. She was one of four sisters, and that moved away from Washington. Um, uh, Everybody else pretty much stayed very close to the birthplace of woke, Thurston County, Washington. Um, but she moved away. Uh, Kind of showing that she saw no value in the sisterhood. She didn't need to be in close proximity to her mother or her sisters. That was not valuable to her. Um, of course, her father, her parents, let's say her mother mostly, made sure that the daughters were taken care of. They each got a piece of property. Um, uh, they sold that property for a profit. My mother just wanted to be away from her sisters and mother, and even though she had property in Washington, um, my dad didn't have jack shit in anywhere. He didn't have he graduated high school in Ritchie, Montana, very 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 tiny town, and he had jack shit. He had a Chevy 1969 Chevy Chevelle of some value, but that was lost after he got drafted. And then whatever, they met he was stationed in Fort Lewis, and then mom and whatever her liberal friends' ideas, they figured out ways to get him out of the jungle, so he didn't have to go to Vietnam. He didn't have anything. He had nothing in Montana whatsoever, nothing. And she moved away from her father and parents and property. And part of the reason for that is her devaluing of respect or kinship or a sisterhood bond between her own sisters and mother. She didn't. What time did she have for that sort of thing? Absolutely not. It's just she wanted to get as far away from that as possible, and it shows in the way that she raised her daughters. But it's also good for us, me and my sister Dee, to know that you can't expect loyalty from sisters. You can't expect a sorority of femininity. That's not something that should be expected or anticipated when you're among other females out in the world. So that's my mother and her lesson, and something that I've taken with me. It's not that I don't have female friends. I have two lifetime female friends that I enjoy and treasure, and I don't know what I would do without either of them. Sylvan, I met before kindergarten, so 46, 7 years. Incredible human being. Janet, I didn't meet her until 2006 or 7, probably 7. But so that's almost 20 years that I've been friends with her, and I'm able to form bonds with women. But it's probably a good defense mechanism to not expect any sort of valuable women. And Stephen Crowder just said this a couple of days ago, maybe a couple of weeks ago. There is no female hierarchy. All there is competition between women. We're bitches to each other. men have a natural hierarchy. They'll assign tasks to men that are maybe good at one thing and maybe not good at another. They have God at the pinnacle, just as a, something to aspire to. Women, we don't have that. So all we have is competition and catfighting amongst each other. And I would say that my mother prepared me for that. As far as the video I did yesterday about handline irrigation, I think that I was able to illustrate the point to you that it is a miserable, awful job that women probably, maybe shouldn't be, definitely they shouldn't be in charge of it. Oh, Jesus, that's a martini. They definitely shouldn't be in charge of it, and it wouldn't be something that she would choose to do naturally. It's sort of like bricklaying. I looked into the salary of people that did that same work in 1990, and a worker by himself, if he were to change 2 quarter-mile hand lines, he would have gotten about $1,200 a month. And if you subtract room and board for that, he might have gotten 6, because, as kids, we were obviously, we got room and board, so, but he would have been able to do it by himself, so that $600 would have been divided by 3, so we probably should have been getting, $200 a month each. But we're his kids, and we get room and board, and we're supposed to do what we're told, and but the promise for the $100 was a big and a significant promise to all of us, because that's more money than we had ever seen before. With all of my father's business failures, none of us kids got anything. And if we did get something, it would be something very small or very insignificant. And I don't know. It was probably usually for the boys. Not all of it. It's okay. So what did my father teach me about life that I learned about and could take with me into the life and jobs that I've had in the future and into, retirement? The first thing that my father taught was, okay, the job is difficult. The job is disgusting. The job is not fun. Nobody wants to do it. But if you can be the first person out on the porch to put your boots on, then you can get 2 boots, not just 1, 2 boots that didn't have a hole in them. So all you have to do that is to snap to when he says to get out there and get your boots on and get ready to go out and change handline. If you snap to it, go outside, put your boots on, you are going to be the first out there, and you're going to get 2 boots without holes in them. I don't know, it seemed very quickly these boots would get holes in them. But they're cheap. They're made out of flimsy. Well, maybe they're made out of rubber, but they're flimsy. They're difficult. Plus, the boots. There's a right and a left boot, but they're not even pairs. They're not even pairs really. They're all the same, and everybody is all wearing them. So they're all different feet in the same shoes in water. But if you would snap to it when Dad's had time to go, then you would be the person that had the best boot. And that is a good sort of analogy about any job, really. Just be the first one that does the thing that nobody wants to do it. It wouldn't be a job if you love doing it. You know, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life, right? It's not called a job because we love doing it. And that's every job, every single job. But if you're the first one to hop off the couch, quit watching TV, go outside, then you are rewarded by the maybe the one pair left. There might be two pairs left with no holes in them. But if you were the first one off the couch and out on the porch putting your boots on, you would be the one to go out to do a shitty job, but you would have dry feet while you were doing that. Okay, the second part of the job has to do with Christmas of 1990. So we'll talk about Christmas of 1990. It's the end of the season. We're done changing pipe now. School's starting. School probably already has started. I had a few times, not very many times, but a few times there was pipe changing before school. So before we catch the school bus, we have to change pipe. I mean, that's a big day, and we didn't have to. They didn't force us to do that very many times, because that's a long fucking day for anybody. But school starts, and did we have time to go to the mall with $100? Probably not. We probably just jumped on the bus with whatever we could find in the closet, and started school. Our $100 seemed to be missing. But through September and October, I think it was just a relief to not have to do the job anymore. It's a huge relief to just not have to do the job anymore. But you know, by November, we still haven't gotten paid. We're talking about this behind our parents' back. You know, where's the fucking... And we all knew $100 is not very much, but where the fuck is $100 at? Yes, mother, beautiful food. Yes, the roof doesn't leak. Okay, we got room and board for this labor, but where's our $100? It's not forthcoming. So, all four of us are wondering where the fuck it's at. And then by November, you know, Christmas is right around the corner. You know, maybe we could have a little Christmas spending money. Well, no, not exactly. They would wait till Christmas, kids. You know, they tell us, you know, wait till Christmas. We're going to give you a couple of surprises. You know, things that you've never had before. Is you wouldn't even think that they would even think of it. Like the, you know, and remember, we've been very, very poor for a very, very long time. Let's just see what happens on Christmas. And, you know, none of us knew what these big purchases might be. And, again, we're just happy not having to do that again. you know, we can watch TV at night and go to bed early. We're thankful for that. Um, so we got that going for us. So we're waiting for Christmas. It's Christmas of 1990. Um, my sister and I have one box. My two brothers have another box, and they're both big and they're both kind of heavy. But not exactly shaped the same. Uh, but we were sort of excited about it. We kind of let it go. Um, we're not giving my parents shit for not paying us because we understand that we're just starting a new farm. We understand that times are hard. We've always had hard times from the moment we were born until then. All of us understood that. So, all of us are kind of trained not to ask for anything. But the boys would have better luck, if anybody. So the boys go first, and they're opening their present. What is it? A Nintendo. That's what my mom called it. Uh, a Nintendo. So that's what the boys got. A gaming system. We didn't have the money for an Atari back in the 80s. This was not something, but okay, Mom and Dad in Christmas of 1990, that way past the cusp of the gamer generation, they finally got a Nintendo for my brothers. And then what did me and my sister get? We didn't give a shit about gaming. I still don't know how a human being, an adult human being, can call themselves a gamer and respect themselves when they look in the mirror. You're a gamer. A gamer is to me it's a child. It's a person that it's a non-serious person. But now, of course, there's 100 million of them in this country. I don't understand it. I don't get it. But so what is our present gonna be? What's me and Dee gonna get? Well, what me and Dee got was it's a little bit cheaper than Nintendo's, so let's not pretend. My sister was more of an accountant on that than I was. My sister, before this, many years before, like by the time she was in 4th grade, she was calculating the math on what they're spending on the brothers versus what they're spending on us, and she noticed a discrepancy. She's a Libra rising people pleaser. She's not going to bring this up, but I share a room with her, and she's going to notice, even if she doesn't say anything. So a VCR is going to cost slightly less than a Nintendo gaming system, but at least now, we don't have cable, but at least we can watch MTV. At least we have a VCR of our very own. We had, back in the day, we would have movie places where you could go rent a VCR. But we didn't have our own TV. We still only have. It's a tiny house. The boys are sharing a room. The girls are sharing a room, and Mom and Dad is sharing a room. We're all doubled up in a 3-bedroom house, 1 bathroom, 1 TV. But now we can hook up a VCR and a Nintendo. Um, um, it's not only cheaper, but you have to choose one or the other. You can't, two kids can't watch a movie while the boys play Nintendo. So we're still having to share the TV. And look, that's another thing we learn about sharing. None of us bitched about sharing, but if the boys want to operate their Nintendo, we can't operate our present. And plus, let's not forget. I mean, if you watch the other video about my parents, the one about my dad is kind of specific about my parents' enjoyment of pornographic movies. Their buying of a VCR stops them from having to rent VCRs for their porn enjoyment. The VCR is for the whole family. So what me and my sister get is something that the whole entire family uses, is cheaper than the Nintendo. And look at, I'm not expecting them to buy a VCR that Dee and I can set up in our room. Our room was not big enough to accommodate a TV. Well, it might have been. It might have been, but you know, they don't prioritize girls in this house. These are little subtle little things that they do to underscore how unimportant my sister and I are to my mom and dad. And my mom, she's not there to advocate on our behalf. She's only there to compete with all of us for my father's affection, I guess. Like, she's not an ally. She's a competitor. So at the end of the year, we get this shitty VCR. It was top of the line 1990 VCR, and we can occasionally watch movies. This is also another added expense to their annual budget. They have to occasionally let us go rent movies sometimes. So the VCR was not nothing. Okay. But then we get to year two. Year two, there's another $100 promise. Notice we don't get a raise. Even though at this point we're trained. We know what we're signing up for by the time we get back to next spring. We know what's entailed. We know what we're about to do and embark on, and we still have this dangling carrot. And I'm not one to if I'm the one that complains, they're not going to listen, and everybody knows that. So it's kind of up to my brother to step up and say, okay. You're going to give us $100 this year. Are you going to still give us $100 that you owe us for last year? And, Dad said no, you were just training last year. But this year, you guys know what you're doing. You guys know what you're doing. It's not exactly a promotion. And there's no raise with it. But he's like, this year, you guys are going to get paid. So, we do it again next year. we periodically during that summer, we're needing a reassurance that, are we going to get paid? The boys especially, we're going to get paid $100 at the end of the year, right? Yes, 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 of course. Look, you guys are doing great. I see these lines are straight. I haven't had a blowout in a month. Things like that. We're getting at least some verbal kudos. Because we know what we're doing a better job on the second year. But once again, the season a little bit overlaps with school. There's not a trip to the mall. We can't just go to Capitol Hill Mall in Helena with $100, right? We don't have time for that. School's starting. We got pipe to change. There's not there's no deadline for this $100. So school starts. We quit working. We're relieved. We're relieved that we don't have to do this job anymore, and we can just all, breathe a sigh of relief. And again, we don't get paid. So that's the other thing. Okay, I've done a few jobs. My mother suggested I work at the hospital, so I became a certified nursing assistant, just like she did. I was following in her shoes, and excuse me, kind of doing what she wanted me to do. That's not good enough for her. But I've worked in casinos. I've worked in gas stations. These are I sold air for the radio. I used to do commercials, believe it or not. I can do a good commercial. I have a good voice, and if I have a script, and if I can rehearse it, I can make a 30-second spot without, making any mistakes. So I worked in radio a little bit, but the longest job that I've had was the sex worker job. I think I can still say sex worker on this channel. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but what my dad taught me that is applicable to my whole life is that you have to get paid up front. You don't go on a guy, you don't assume that any man is honest. I couldn't, we couldn't, none of us kids, none of the four of us could assume that Dad would pay us what he said he would pay us. It's just, he mainly wanted to just have us do what we were told and help where we could. And the dangling carrot was the motivation, but when it came to time to pay us, he wouldn't do that. And it's a hard and fast lesson that I learned from my father, that you really can't trust a man to, well, first of all, what a man's motivation is to get what he can out of you, whatever that is. In my father's case, it wasn't anything untoward, but he wanted tasks performed. But he can't be trusted to pay any more than any other man can. So, but that was really helpful to me in my career as a, I guess, accountant. Some would say sex worker. That was a good, strong lesson for me to learn, that you can't trust men to pay you. So, thank you for that, Mom and Dad. Let's see, let's wrap this up. How much? Oh, that's a half an hour, 35 minutes. Okay, the other things that my parents did for us, they were not nothing. Tinkerbell, the cow. Tinkerbell the cow, I named Tinkerbell the cow when I was about 4 years old. My friend Sylvan, her mom got her pregnant every year. She was a vet, the local vet, a female vet. We had a cow. My parents milked her twice a day. We all had milk, plenty of milk. And we had plenty of milk because my parents milked a cow twice a day. So, and that's not nothing. So, my mom always liked gardening. She grew vegetables. Our diet was good and pure and not, it was not, what we got was like from the ground, and, you know, making bread. Mom can't teach any female skills. She was taught female skills by her mother. Her mom didn't have a job. Her mom never had a job. This, admiration of Opal, I have absolutely no understanding. She could read, she was literate, she could, I don't believe she plumbed her house. I don't believe that this grandmother was related to the mountain man John Bridger. I don't believe anything positive that they say about my grandma Opal. But Grandma Opal was a stay-at-home mom who taught feminine skills. But my mother was completely unable to impart any of those skills to me or my sister. And maybe it's my fault. Maybe I'm just so stupid. And that, you know, by the time she got to D, she gave up. I mean, I don't know, but she doesn't have the patience to teach a young girl how to make bread. How we were not taught in high school how to can vegetables. The sewing machine. Mom could sew just about anything. When the Cabbage Patch dolls came out, she tried to make Cabbage Patch dolls, which it defeats the purpose of a Cabbage Patch doll. If you were there, if you know, you know. Part of the whole Cabbage Patch doll phenomenon was the birth certificate, the certificate of authenticity. We don't get a certificate of authenticity when our mom tries to make it with a sewing machine, but she's very good with a sewing machine. I took a home ec. I could make patterns. I would love to be able to sew, but I couldn't sew at home because I didn't know how to thread the machine. My mother can't teach me how to sew, how to thread a sewing machine, because my mother, she's in her mind, she's so superior to everybody else that she can't be asked to come down from the mountain of her superiority to teach us low-level subhuman daughters of hers how to thread the machine. And she's like, they don't teach how to thread the machine at home ec? Okay. We got a Bernina. we got a Bernina in the home ec lab. How in the fuck is my home ec teacher supposed to teach me how to thread the goddamn singer that you have in the closet? Okay? You're gonna have to teach me how to thread. I'll handle the fucking pattern. I can cut out the pattern. I can sew together the pattern. Teach me how to thread the machine, Barbara. But no, that would take too much time, energy, and patience. She does not have that. Not for anybody, but especially not her daughters. Her daughters are not worth her time. The sons are worth her time. The sons are worth the dad's time. My dad, the dad. But the girls are worth nothing. So, I mean, and that's another important lesson that I learned too, is I had to give femininity a value, a monetary value, a countable value, and being a sex worker and a accountant, some people say, doing the career and job that I did was one way that I could have a provable value to femininity when I was kind of taught that femininity has no value. So that kind of naturally gave me motivation to prove that, you know, just for self-preservation, just to prove that femininity does have a value. So that's what I learned on the farm. Tomorrow we'll do another video. Can you believe it? I'll try not to make these so long. And thank you for tuning in. Like or subscribe. Leave a comment. I might have said the wrong SW word. YouTube hates me. But I'm still going to keep recording these just to, you know, keep a record of things that have happened. Happy Mother's Day to everybody, and have a great weekend. Bye-bye.